everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with the Transformers Legacy Armada Universe Megatron. Yes, he is a new version, a new interpretation of the Armada Megatron, but this is a versus review. So of course I have the original Armada Megatron right here. And we are going to be putting these two up against each other and seeing which one is best for your collection. Or maybe you want both, but whatever the case is, you get to decide in the comments. So let's do this thing. Be right back. So let's get this Armada Megatron out of its package. Yeah, that was easy. All right, I took him out ahead of time. So he actually comes packaged in his vehicle mode, which means you need to get in your vehicle mode. So for this review, we have them both in their vehicle modes, original and new one. And of course, the original has this little dude who is known as Leader-1. No, not that Leader-1. Does he look like he changes into an airplane? And he probably doesn't echo. In fact, on the show, he beep, 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 beep. Sounded like fucking R2-D2. But anyway, let's look at these two in vehicle mode first, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the robot mode. Now this is the vehicle mode of the new Legacy, and it rolls. Woohoo! It actually rolls better than a lot of the Siege and other things that I've seen. It's very smooth. I like it. That's one of the best rolling Transformers I've come across in a long time. Even the Speed series from Rise of the Beasts, whatever. Revenge of the Rise of the Beasts aren't as good. So, very reminiscent of the original. The turret can pretty much turn most of the way around. I mean, it gets stuck here, and it gets stuck here. And then this comes off. Okay, well this actually is supposed to come off, which is a mode that I'll show you later. But you can change the elevation of the turret. And you also have this additional gun here, which pops off. But it's good for shooting people behind, or shooting people up in the air, or whatever the case might be. Now he's got some things here that look like they should open, but I think they're just molded on there. Let me see. Can these open? It'd be nice if I looked at the instructions just to be sure. Instructions are amazing sometimes, and sometimes they suck. Yeah, it's not showing anything with these opening up, which is a shame. He's got lots of little bits, and it looks like he's got 5mm ports in various places. I guess for extra guns or battle masters or stuff, but he is a handsome looking tank. If you look at the bottom, you can see his face. It is not covered. Now the original one, as you'll see shortly, had a little slide thing here to cover his face, but there's no way to cover his face. I will also say his ears, if you wiggle them, the original one you could actually push them together, but in this case, they might actually fall off. So they are very easy to push back in, so you can do that, but just be aware that his ears, his horns, whatever you want to fucking call them, are not exactly the best. He is one horny dude. But a lot of nice detailing, paint detailing. It looks really good. Now, let me bring in the original, which also rolls, though much more loudly. But he has something he doesn't.
Decepticon.
Electronics! He talks. There's sound effects.
Decepticon.
I mean, he sounds nothing like David K. It should be like, Decepticons, attack. But I'm not. G1 Megatron I can do, David K's I can come close, but now I will say that these little sound effects can get annoying after a while, but you can also use the Minicon to bring these missiles forward and make sound effects. So he's got electronics, which is nice. Now the original, I mean, you can change the inclination of the turret. You can turn it all the way around, which is new one. For whatever reason, it just doesn't do it. It's weird. you also have a lot of pegs on here for Minicons. And a lot of things that move like these. This pops up and it's got 3 additional Minicon ports. So you can load this fucker up with a ton. And you have to close them in the correct order. But there's that. It also, he's got Minicon ports here. He also has this little ramp thing on the side. So if he's driving along and he wants to capture a Minicon, he also has a claw. So it comes out and it grabs onto the Minicon and he can capture those little shitty beeping Cybertronians. So he's got extra features. He's got the claw. The claw! He's got that ramp. He's got this little bay here, which opens up on the side, which I don't know what it's for, but you can potentially put a captured Minicon in there. He's got this weird thing here, which has a Minicon port. I don't know exactly what it's for, but it moves. It's an additional feature. I guess you could put a Minicon that has weapons on it and use it as additional armament. So, yes. Pew, pew. I think that is the extent. And of course there is that wonderful thing, and you can, again, bring the missiles. Unlike on the new one, which it points up or towards the back, you can use the Minicon to actually lock it so that it's forward facing and launching into the air. So laser guided missiles or whatever. I don't know, I'm not a military expert, but a lot of nice detailing on this guy. Let's look at them side by side, because you can see, and we'll put that back, a lot of the detailing is the same. I mean, this barrel, it's got black and gray. This is more of a light gray with a bluish tint. They both have the, well, these can clamp back and forth. These will fall off if you play with them too much. So he can capture Minicons using his claw. This one, you don't need a Minicon to move this forward, but again, that's as far as it goes. It does turn because of the way it's attached. A lot of the detailing, this is gray here on the top of the turret. This is silver, but a lot of the same design elements. And this one has a Decepticon symbol, but it is clear because it also has the light behind it because of electronics. This has more of a patterned symbol background, and the symbol itself is painted on, but this is molded in, it doesn't move. These are molded in, they don't appear to move. They look like they should move because the molding was that good, but I'm not seeing a way to open them. Of course, on the bottom, you can see, if I slide this forward, Megatron's face is hidden. It still looks pretty, you know, alien and fishy, where this one is not, but very similar deco on the sides and panels. I mean, very close. On these, it has a very similar silver thing here. This has the area that looks like it should slide and go across, but it doesn't have anything to move. But it does have what looks like possibly a 5mm port right there. So again, you could put a weapon there, something like that. I don't know if they're planning on doing anything with Minicons with Legacy, but maybe they will have different kind of ports. Maybe they'll be able to also be held as weapons. I don't know. But they are very similar. Obviously, the original Megatron tank is, the front of his tread's about 8.5 inches long to his barrel, to the tip of his missile in the barrel, which he's got actual missiles. Whoa, let's get back here. Almost lost that. So yes, and it makes sound effects when you fire the missiles. But that's like 10 inches. The new one, which is Voyager as opposed to Leader, is like, the front of his treads maybe just about 7.5 inches, slightly over 8 with the barrel. So obviously the original is bigger, but this one says sizes and everything. We're going to determine that as we go into the robot modes. They're going to terrorize. No, wait, that was Beast Wars shit. All right, let's start out with our brand new version of Megatron. And the transformation is not dissimilar, though a little more refined in some ways than the original Armada Megatron, but not something that you couldn't figure out yourself, even if you didn't have the instructions. But there are some clever things in here, such as these side pieces that you have to slide down. And I'll point those out a little bit more as we go through the robot mode. and all his capabilities. Now the ears, because I was messing around with them, come off. The ears, the horns. So I need to push them back in. They go in on posts. There's little posts on the side there. But yeah, that is an annoyance that they aren't more sturdily affixed, but at the same time, they may not be so sturdily affixed, but I suppose it also helps with breakage, or lack thereof. All right, there he is in his robot mode. And he stands almost 8 3/4 inches in this mode to the top of his shoulders. And again, looks very similar to the original Armada Megatron. Now, posability-wise, he is able to do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme toes up. And he can stay that way. You know, it's not like I have to hold him. He doesn't have anything blocking that. But the the legs can go forward quite a bit and back quite a bit and off to the side. This barrel keeps falling off. But again, it's not that it's too loose, it's just that, you know, I'm rough with my toys. Your head out of the gutter, Logan. He can bend at the knee, so he can knee someone in the groin. Though this gets in the way of him doing a proper knee attack. He does have ankle rockers, which is kind of neat. Which, obviously, in Transformers, the treads never work. And so there was no reason not to put the ankle rockers with the treads on the back. But yes, he does have ankle rockers, so that's very nice. The arms, well, let's see. He twists at the waist. Because of the friggin' tank turret on his back, you know, he's blocked from twisting all the way. But he's got good twisting. The arms, all right. So, if you flip these forward, you can actually move the arms all the way forward. But they don't go all the way around. It doesn't, these pieces don't move. So he's a little bit limited. And with these plates down, he can't really put his arm all the way forward. He can go off to the side, bend at the elbow. He's got a nice swivel. Oh, wait. The leg swivel, too. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, so the arms do move in various ways. One of the little gimmicks, because his barrel keeps falling off, is you can flip around his fists and put the barrel on it so he's shooting there. But again, he kind of has to shoot from the hip, which he was already doing anyway, so what's the point? So the arms are a little bit lacking. The head does turn very nicely, goes all the way around. And again, just be careful of those horns, ears, whatever you want to call it. Here's his back view. Now, he does have some additional weapons modes, which I'm going to show you. But first, I want to go through Leader-1. Okay, well, yeah, real quick. He transforms. He's a little guy. That's it. But let's take a look at the original Armada Megatron. Put him in his robot mode. And he's going to talk. We'll see what other electronic noises we can get out of him as we go through. I don't think there's a heck of a lot more. I did have to replace the batteries, the button cell batteries. And if you need to replace the batteries on yours, which I actually have to do that for another Versus review that's coming up. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's Armada Optimus Prime. Keep an eye out for that one. That one was a pain in the butt. And I actually had to break out more than one of the Armada originals. But anyway, let's get to this guy who is in his much taller robot mode. He stands a full 10 inches. Logan, you wish you had 10 inches. Anyway, I have no idea what Logan has. Now he, as far as posability, he can do a split. Not quite 100% full. And he does not have the ability to swivel his legs, so there is no toes up. It's just a split. He does bend at the waist, because that's part of the transformation, which is nice, so you can have him off to the sides a little bit. His arms, oh wait, he doesn't bend at the knee, by the way. These legs are not made for bending, but he can do side bends. The arms, now, the turret gets in the way, but at least his shoulders move, which is nice. And the arms themselves can go off to the side. They can go forward, but again, it's kind of like shooting from the hip. These do not flip up to get out of the way, but he can, I believe I can fly. I believe I can, okay, no more singing. There is a swivel on his elbow joint, so he can swivel. He's also got this energon blade that comes out of his wrist or the palm of his hand. Very neat. So, sneak attack. The head turns very nicely all the way around, and the horns don't come off. So, pardon these flaps on the side. I've had this since, what, 2002? So, it's a 21-year-old toy. It's amazing it's in as good a shape that it's actually in. But his ears move, his horns, whatever you want to call them. And you can still use the Minicon on his back to cause blaster sounds. Now, there's an additional battle mode for each of these guys when they really want to fight, but let's just take a look at them side by side. And the new one is almost as tall as the old one. It's very similar. Very good homage to the original. Obviously, there's some difference in the deco a little bit here and there. This thing is molded. It doesn't actually move a plate up to protect his face. He could move it up to cover his face. Tell me when I can peek. Or he can move it up partially so he could, you know, be a ninja. Like the Nightbird. Enter the Nightbird. So very similar. This one is a little more posable in some areas, whereas this guy's a little more posable in the shoulders and such. But they each have this additional battle mode, which I'm kind of glad that they did not skimp on it for the new one. He could put his turret in front, and it can't spin all the way, but you know, he can, you know, use it to fire weapons. Now this guy gets taller. We know you want the Decepticons to attack. Shut up. And yes, this Megatron can do the exact same thing, just with electronic sounds. So they do have that neat additional ability. It's pretty cool. He did use it in the show, but generally, instead of having it in the front, he just brings the turret around as a side penis of some kind. I have to say, they've changed a couple things with the new one to make it a little bit easier in some ways, but it doesn't have quite the same feel. But there they are, side by side. They have very similar looks. This one has electronics. This one has ankle rockers. This one has a Minicon, which this one does not have, nor is there a port that I can plug this Minicon and reunite him with his, you know, a new incarnation of his old buddy. Well, you were captured. He wasn't your buddy. Do I think this new Armada Megatron from the Legacy line is good? I do. I like it. I'm glad I have it. One thing that's interesting is these side pieces that when you transform him actually become sides of the tank. So he seems very solid in tank mode, but I mean, they've done improvements, but the original I think still holds up. So I'm not going to say which one is better. I want you to tell me in the comments which one of these motherfuckers with their side penises is the better Megatron. I will bring the Minicons to my dominion. Mind just say you're going to catch him, asshole. Of course, this one is available in fine stores everywhere. I'll put a link in the description. This guy, you pretty much need to go to eBay, so I'll put a link to that in the description as well, so you can get whichever one you want. But while you are comparing these masterpieces of Megatronish glory, well, there's another Megatron, but he's not really Megatron. He's a false emperor. That's a video that's right over here. Check that out. That's always a fun one. And I hope you're having as much fun watching these videos as I'm having making them. We will see you next time. And as always, have fun and good hunting for the Minicons.